orders from above. So Zhang Wenwang said, how do I know? I don't read heavenly language. So Kyung Tai Kung took him around and showed him all the movements of the constellations, explained to him which star represented the Shang dynasty, which star represented the Zhao dynasty, explained everything in detail. And he didn't know whether it was right or wrong, but he took it all down and told his children, and his children all wrote it down and studied all the constellations, right? And then all the changes of nature around him that happened, Kyung Tai Kung showed him. And what happened was, people like Confucius, Lao Tzu, Mark Ji, they all go into great detail. All these changes around the world, they pinpoint from constellation movements to all kinds of natural disasters that pointed to the guy upstairs says, enough, time you take up arms. So finally, as they were taking up arms, what the Shang dynasty had another last trick, and that was, look, Zhang Wenwang looks like he's recovering. We know how to finish him off. Because at that time, there were some very fierce tribes that were attacking the Shang dynasty borders. Now, the Shang dynasty could handle them, but at a great loss of troops. So they said, why don't we do this? We arm the Zhao dynasty, Zhao people. Make Zhao Wenwang a general. Send him to the border and fight these fierce troops. Either one of them will get wiped out. If we wipe out the barbarians, good. We have less barbarians at our doorstep. If the Zhao dynasty guys get wiped out, great. We got rid of these guys who are a threat to us. In either case, both of them will be so badly hurt that we can only benefit. So send Zhang Wenwang off to fight at the borders, and they did. This is where I think the Shang dynasty made its first mistake, giving these guys a license to fight. Now, they were no great warriors, but hang on, Kyung Tai Kung was supposed to be the father of military strategy, and he taught him incredible skills, what we call battle formations or strategies, Chan. And the concept of all these different types of battle formations and strategies came from Kyung Tai Kung, who later was studied by Sun Ji and Zhuge Liang and all that. So they went into their battles, they learned more from having their first fights. Now they're more ready. And because they behave with such dignity and civility towards their opponents, that even when they defeated the barbarians were so touched by these guys that when the time came from the Zhao dynasty to fight, the barbarians joined them and helped fight the Shang dynasty. So what did the Zhao dynasty do so special that made the barbarians love them? Let me explain this to you. This is so important. Kyung Tai Kung said to Zhang Wenwang, you must understand that there is no such thing as a heaven-sanctioned war of aggression. We cannot start war. Oh wow. So sorry. Was he around the last few years? Heaven does not sanction wars of aggression. First rule. I wish the rest of the world remembered. We're not supposed to start wars. You're only supposed to defend your territory. This is a #1 rule. If you break that rule, then you are going against the rules that are set out by heaven. Now, according to Kyung Tai Kung, he actually made a big departure from the Shang dynasty in one sense. The Shang dynasty had their gods and deities and their beliefs and cultural practices, but Kyung Tai Kung says he introduced the concept of heaven, Teen. And till today, the Chinese people still, in one form or another, grasp this concept of Teen or heaven. Because he says, to explain to you, Teen, is to explain to you that there are some rules and principles, some commandments that are eternal, that cannot be changed. Not by man, not by king, not by emperor. And if we live by those rules, everything will be fine. So, what is this eternal rules and regulations and commandments? They're actually the manifestation of something called Dou, the way. Kyung Tai Kung is, in a sense, the father of the concept of Dou, that there is a way, that there is a universal way. And that forms the basis of much of Chinese culture, civilization, philosophy, history. He said that if we live by the Dou, in accord with the Dou, everything will be fine. If we go against the Dou, then we're going against the natural order, and things will not be fine. And so, the mandate of heaven says that if you become a king, everything points to you, gives you the right to be king. It actually means that you are the most unfortunate person in the world, in a sense, because your responsibilities and duties are the largest. So being king or emperor actually meant that you are the servant to all mankind, and that the extent of a dynasty or the extent of your rule is parallel with your service to the people. In fact, it was elaborated by Mencius, who is one of the greatest Confucianists down the track, also during the Zhao dynasty, that if a king understands his real duty, then there are three important things. First, the people, whom he must serve every single waking moment of his life. Second, are the gods. They can only serve during ceremonial times. And third, and the least important, is yourself, the king. If you remember that, then you understand Dou people. This is the rule laid down in the Keong Tai Kung. You remember that, you can be king. What did these guys, the Zhao people, do during war that made the barbarians fall on their knees and treat them as their masters? Explain to you. Because during the war period, Keong Tai Kung laid down so many principles that make the Zhao what they are. First, he says, in war, battle is between men in uniform. We cannot strike at civilian targets. If your opponent is in uniform with a weapon, we fight. But you cannot touch civilians. That rule is a mandate from heaven. No exceptions. Hey guys, even to now, 3,000 years later, people forget that rule or conveniently ignore that rule. Bomb some hospitals, some schools, kill a few civilians, hit a few old people for target practice. We forget all the rules. This is what Keong Tai Kung said, no touching civilians. Second, no genocide. You cannot exterminate a race because they fought with you. Just because their men and your men army fought and you've won, you cannot go and wipe out their people on the basis of their race, their religion, whatever nationality. You can't. That's wrong. 3, in the past, during Shang dynasty, and certainly after them during the Qin Shi Huang days and beyond up to now, the wages of war for the soldiers is rape, is looting, is enslavement, even to today, unfortunately. The first thing soldiers do after they won is they go and take the women, whatever way they want. They enslave all those people around them, women, children, civilians, sick, make them your slaves, do whatever they want with them. And what do they do? During the Zhao dynasty time, Keong Tai Kung says, no. When you defeat the army, you must treat the remaining people who are alive with the greatest dignity, care, as if they were people of Zhao. This is the rule. Because they are not your enemies. They did not wear armor, they did not fight with you. They may not even have a choice. The king might have made a decision. So when they went there, they didn't touch the women. They didn't enslave the children. They didn't rob and pilfer. Most armies, they go in there, they loot. Nice this, nice that, nice painting, they take everything, right? Looting is part of the wages of war. Keong Tai Kung said, no looting, no rape, no enslavement. Treat them with the greatest respect. And there were a lot of dead bodies everywhere after the war, right? And these bodies stink and rot, and they bring disease. Keong Tai Kung says, after war, you must give both sides a chance to bury their dead. Golden rule. After they bury the dead, give them a time of mourning, both sides. And when they finish their mourning, you raise a flag and say, we are ready again, then fight. Now, nobody does that anymore. People never give a chance for people to bury their dead. They don't do chance of mourn. Best time to attack the guy when the guy is burying the dead, man. He's coming out there digging, shoot him. So all these rules, 3,000 years down the track, so many civilizations, not just the Chinese, including the Chinese, unfortunately, forgot what Kyong Tai Kung told them. A war will show your true character of a nation, of a people. So, when Zhao Manwang defeated the barbarian tribes, this is unbelievable. They beat us, didn't touch our women, didn't take the kids away to become slaves, they didn't steal all the fur and all that stuff, all the treasures, didn't take our land. These guys are heroes, man. So, Zhao Manwang's reputation grew even more because he set a different level, ethical level. And later when he came into government, Kyong Tai Kung taught him, his son, the art of statecraft. The concept of the ministries, the 6 ministries of Chinese government was set by Kyong Tai Kung, written down into law by the Duke of Zhao, and passed on right up to the Qing dynasty. The 6 principal ministries of government and their functions. And on top of that, Kyong Tai Kung taught Zhao Manwang and his sons, government must be accountable. Accountable, big word. When Zhao Manwang made a mistake, or later when his sons came into power, when they made mistakes, the first thing they did was they hold a ceremony so huge, the whole country knows about it. They write it down on posters in every corner, every street. This is my mistake as Zhao Manwang. And they kneel down on a platform to say sorry to heaven, to earth, and to the people for the mistake. Because the mistake of a king has got huge ramifications. Accountability. This is what was taught by Kyong Tai Kung. Zhao Manwang went on his knees and people respected them more. In fact, Mencius said in his teachings that during the days of early Zhao Manwang, his sons and grandsons and great-grandsons, they were so good that whenever they made mistakes, their mistakes were as clear as solar and lunar eclipse, because the king held a ceremony to detail his mistakes, had it written and pasted in every corner, and the people loved the kings more because they are accountable. They punish themselves. They humble themselves. Transparency. Kyong Tai Kung, in his time, taught Zhao Manwang, when you make an appointment, it must be made public. And his duties and responsibilities must be written out clearly and posted in the streets. So when you appoint a general for the northern frontier, you appoint a minister of finance, his duties and responsibilities must be read out publicly, loudly. Everybody's there. All the ministers are there, written down. Nobody can challenge it. Everybody has a copy of it. So if the minister of finance or a general of the north departed from those duties or fell short, everybody knows where he went wrong. And when the commanders are fighting on the field, you cannot send them any orders. Only when they are finished can you correspond with them. You cannot overrule their orders because it will cause your whole military structure to collapse.